So a couple months ago, when I was working on this sausage ball recipe, I made two versions of it. I made the standard version that comes out of the box that we all know and love. And then I made the second version with my low carb baking mix. I had about 20 people at my house. And wouldn't you know that every single one of them that tried the sausage balls all chose the low carb version. I think it came down to this extra crusty bit of goodness we're gonna get on the bottom. So today I'm gonna show you how I make my low carb sausage cheese balls. Hi, I'm Tina, and on this channel I share high protein, low carb recipes that taste good. I eat low carb because I have to. I have reactive hypoglycemia, and a low carb diet is the treatment. If you grew up with sausage cheese balls, you already know that this is one of those recipes that disappear pretty quick. My mom, she used to make them at holidays. I've made them at parties for years just because they're familiar and they're simple and they actually get eaten. And when I went low carb, I thought, well, this is one of the recipes I think I want to take with me rather than giving up. And to be honest, I actually really like the low carb version better. Okay, we're going to start with the sausage. So on mine, what I did is I bought a pound of ground pork and I seasoned it myself. I used the AC leg seasoning. So for a pound, I used 2.5 teaspoons of the seasoning. Now you can season up the pork and stick it in the refrigerator for at least 2 hours. I prefer doing it overnight because you're going to get a much better sausage flavor out of it. So I put this in last night so that it would be ready for us today. Your other options, of course, the good old standby Jimmy Dean sausage roll. I think we've all used this for sausage balls. I don't know, 100 years. Been using it for a very long time, just trying to steer clear of the nitrates. You can also give the ground turkey sausage a try. I have not used this in sausage balls only because I usually only make these for parties. So for a party, I'm not worried about the calories or the fat. But if you are concerned with calories or fat and you're going to use these as maybe a protein snack, you might want to give this a try. It's probably just going to be, I would assume, would be a little bit drier of a sausage ball. So we're going to start off with my low carb baking mix. And I posted this recipe on my channel last week. So I will drop the link down below in the description. We're going to have 2 cups of that mix in the bowl first. If you've already made the mix, drop a comment down below and let me know. I'd love to know how many people have made the mix. All right, so now what we're gonna do is add in a 1/2 cup of fresh parsley. Now, it's not like the parsley is gonna give it a ton of flavor, but the green going through it kind of does lighten it up some and takes away some of the heaviness. So I like about a 1/2 cup of that. To be transparent here, I kind of ran out and had to substitute in some of the dry and mix that in. All right, now we're gonna follow this up with a teaspoon of garlic powder and a teaspoon of onion powder. And we're gonna give this a good stir and mix it all up. So the next step we're gonna do is grate the cheese, and we'll add the cheese to the bowl next. So let me get that set up. I cannot grate cheese because I have hand arthritis, but I do have this handy little tool that typically will connect to the counter and suction down, but I'm trying to get it directly in the bowl to save on dishes. So we're gonna see how this works. I selected the truly grass-fed cheese for this particular recipe. I really like their cheese. I mean, other than the fact that this recipe calls for 16 ounces of shredded cheese. Most blocks are 8 ounces. Truly's is 7. So I'm 2 ounces short on the cheese. Luckily, I actually had 2 ounces left over from another recipe that I'm going to use here. So just wanted to make sure I called it out in case anybody else is using the Truly grass-fed cheese, because you're going to have to supplement or just be a little short on the cheese. But this tool is very handy. So if you have hand arthritis, I can highly recommend this, and we'll link it down below in the description. It works much better when it's connected to the counter and not on top of a glass bowl, by the way. So, but look at that. Shreds it right into the bowl. No hand pain. It's wonderful.
that was kind of sliding, so I ended up moving over here to the counter to make it a little bit easier. Lastly, we're going to add a half cup of grated Parmesan cheese. Now, what we're going to do here is take all of this mix and start coating the cheese with it. So just kind of flipping it through the cheese and trying to get all of the flour or the baking mix coating onto the cheese. This is going to make it easier to mix in the sausage and have everything fully combined together rather than just having each individual ingredient mixed in. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands. I'll be right back. Now we want to do the hard part. We're going to mix the sausage into the baking mix and cheese. Now, the best way I have found to do this, first of all, is to just kind of break off the pieces into the mix so that you're not working with a big clump of meat. You're definitely going to have to use your hands for this one. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's not an easy way about it. I mean, you could try a spoon, but I'd imagine that's going to take a very, very long time. I've always done this with my hands. So I'm short, so got to get a little bit of leverage here. So I'm going to step up and try not to block the camera here. All right, so we're just going to flip and mix. Flip and mix. So we're going to push down and pull up. So you pull up from the bottom, move the cheese and the mix over top and squeeze. And then again, and you just keep doing this and going in round and round as we mix all this in. You got to remember that there is a lot of fat in the sausage and in the cheese. The baking powder also has, or the baking mix also has butter powder in it. So there is definitely fat in here, and as it cooks, it'll release. So it's going to be a lot more moist because it's just going to look really dry and crumbly right now. I do believe the original recipe called for a 1/4 cup of milk to help moisten it. I found that I didn't need it in this recipe, but if you do seem to think that it's too dry, I would probably add maybe a tablespoon at a time to see if you can get it to come together. But it really will come together if you just keep working the mix. It's just the part where you're going to think, there's just no way it's going to come together. But it does. It just needs a little patience, a little pressure, and apparently a full upper body workout. All right, so if you've ever fought a bowl of sausage balls, you got to leave me a like down below so I know where my people are at. All right. Now, as soon as you can, once everything is all incorporated in and you're able to form a ball that stays together, then your mix is ready to be put on the tray. I'm gonna go wash my hands. I'll be right back. So before we start rolling these balls up, I want to let you know that I do load all of my recipes in MyFitnessPal. So I will put the details down in the description below, but you'll be able to search under ShePrepsSmart Low-carb Sausage Cheese Balls. There will also be a link to a downloadable, printable recipe card that you can have. And then I will pop a QR code right here for my TV viewers so that you can access the printable without having to go back to your computer. All right. Easiest way to roll these up, cookie scoop. That way you have uniform size, they'll cook evenly. So just kind of take a cookie scoop, roll it up. We're gonna place them on the pan about 1/2 inch apart from each other. And then we will cook them in the oven at 375 degrees for 20 to 22 minutes. And I'll see you shortly. Oh, look at that. I wish you could smell them. Now this is what I was looking for. This nice crispy bottom there. Give you a look at that. Now that is what everybody loved so much about these sausage balls. Now while we wait for these to cool just a bit so that I could take a taste test, let's talk about serving suggestions. Now, I've mentioned a couple of times, I typically make these for parties. So I did want to call out, I found this at the last party. It's awesome. It's a heated mat and you just set the tray on it and it'll keep your sausage balls warm throughout your whole party. So love that idea if you're making these for a party. Another good option for these, I think, is meal prep snacks. You can eat 4 of these and get 28 grams of protein, and that's better than any protein shake out there, and this is gonna fill you up pretty good. So they will stay also in a sealed airtight container in the fridge for about 4 days. My preference for heating these up is the air fryer to retain that crispiness, this part that we love so much. But you can heat them in the microwave, did that for many years. They're just a more softer, kind of a bouncier texture. I don't want to call it rubbery, but it is a little bit more bouncy when you put it in the microwave. So air fry it at 360 for about 4 minutes and they're perfect. All right, let's take a taste. Let's see. All right. Of course, sausage, full on, is what I taste first, followed by the cheese. The low-carb baking mix gives it a very tender texture. I love the crispiness on the bottom of this, which I really think comes from the oat fiber and the butter powder that are in the low-carb baking mix, but it just gives it that something extra that I just really like. I forgot about the sauces. Okay, so my preference has been for many, many years, the spicy brown mustard. I recently found Mike's. This is an excellent spicy mustard if you haven't tried it. Not sponsored, just really like it. It's a good product. And then I know some of my guests had asked for jelly. This is a jalapeno berry jelly that I had at the last party that they really liked on these. So I will link these down below as well if you wanted to give them a try. And there you have it, low-carb sausage cheese balls, with each one of these having 7 grams of protein and 0 net carbs. If you hadn't had a chance to watch the video on how to make the low-carb baking mix, I'll drop you in the list right here. If you find something that you enjoy, I hope you would consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you for watching my video.